So last year, Emmanuel Moseley and Dre Greenlaw kind of had down seasons, you could argue. I mean, they played better in 2019, I thought, than they did in 2020. It's important to remember that neither one was starting in training camp. When it started, the starters were Jason Verrett and Richard Sherman in the backfield, and Quan Alexander and Fred Warner at linebacker. Do you feel like the 49ers not building on Moseley and Greenlaw's success, sort of bumping them down the pecking order after a good rookie year, affected them?
I do think it did. I mean, you know, it's like people are like, you know, look at this season, like E-Man, you know, had trouble as far as, you know, a few games, but like he was locking up Metcalf, you know, in 2019, like no problem, like throw it over here all you want, Russell Wilson. The guy's not getting the ball. He was not a beast really until he played Philly in the playoffs, and we played him twice that year. He wasn't a problem for us, and we all know Sherman doesn't travel, so wasn't like Sherman was locking him up all over the field.
Right.
So, and the same with Greenlaw, like Juan got hurt. Greenlaw stepped in, and for one, I think I even told you, like, I didn't have high hopes for Greenlaw in the beginning. I'm like, who is this safety they're talking about making a linebacker? You know, he had a slow 40 time, I think, because he was injured at the time of the combine, you know, but he showed up. But it's like, they always say football is about a meritocracy, you know, which, like, it's kind of an oxymoron if you know the history of America, you know, but it's like, it's just about what you do on the field. Like, and these guys did it. And what was their reward? Their reward was you restructured Quan instead of, you know, what would that have made Greenlaw feel like? It's like, you know what? Like, Farag is smart. And he left us out in this Quan Alexander contract after 1 year because of his injury history. And we got lucky or good and drafted Greenlaw. And he is great. Let's move on. Like, love you, Quan. You got a motor, you all that. But this kid deserves it. We drafted him, and we don't have to pay him that much either. It works in your, you know, back pocket as well. But they didn't do that. They restructured Quan and gave him back the starting job. Which, I mean, like you say, really, you look at the games, you know, Greenlaw had played more for us than Quan, but they were both new to the team. So you didn't owe Quan Alexander anything. Like, you know, then you got E-Man. Like, you drafted Witherspoon in the 3rd round. Like, he played excellent. I'm not taking anything away from him. At the early part of the season, at one point, I thought he and E-Man were the best 2 corners on the field at time. Like, but he crumbled after the injury. He came back from the injury and was never the same. E-Man stepped in, covered for him, did a good job. Then you took his job away again and you said, you know what, here's the playoffs, had a week off, you know, get Witherspoon's mind right, put him in again to start. And what does he do? Crumbles again against Minnesota.
Yep.
And you put E-Man in, and he does the job again.
Yes.
And he does the job again against Green Bay. And he does a pretty damn good job in the Super Bowl itself. Yeah. And then what do you do in the offseason? You say Jason Verrett, or you say it's a competition for the second cornerback job. You know, I think even Sherman thought he was probably going to get the job because he was even, like he did with Witherspoon, kind of pumping him up in the offseason. Like, oh, E-Man, he could really play this position. Now, I mean, I just think that does something to you psychologically if, you know, you're not looking for confirmation, but you know, it's your team. This is the team these young people have always played for. And it's like, y'all don't believe in me? Like, you know, it's kind of makes you, it's almost like your parent, you know, telling you they don't believe you can do it. Like, oh, well, maybe I can. Like, whether I can or not.
But why is there not a meritocracy on the 49ers? To me, there was more of a meritocracy on the Harbaugh Niners, and I feel like you get the meritocracy when there's a clear separation between the front office and the coaching staff. If they're different people, the front office gets the people and they have the vision of who should be good and who's going to be the best. That's why they give certain players more money or draft them higher. But then the coaches get them and they don't care. They don't, you know, they don't care. And they're like, well, E-Man's better. So Akello, you're out. And whoever drafted him maybe you should get fired. Sorry, not my problem. I'm here to play the best players. And I think that's what a lot of the AJ Jenkins stuff was. Like, Harbaugh's like, you want me to play this? I'm not going to. He's not good enough. I don't care. I don't care. And Kyle, he picks the players. So a lot of times he's trying to justify investments that he made. Jed York, he was like, Jed, you got to give. I want you to give Jerick McKinnon a $10 million signing bonus because he's worth it. Right. Because he's good.
With us.
Yeah.
We need him.
All that stuff. So I feel like a lot of times you have Kyle Shanahan trying to justify his own investments.
I never thought of that, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Like we're saying, like Greenlaw was a late pick,
It's like, why can Kyle not see the truth here? Why can you not see? It's like your front office ego is preventing you from seeing the truth.
Yes.
Yes. Trent Baalke probably couldn't see the truth.
Like Richie James. Like
right.
You're sitting here holding on. Like Richie James did a low budget, everything you wanted Pettis to do. Low budget. I'm not saying he's the world beater, but he did. He returned punts, kickoffs.
He was always better than Pettis. He was always better than Pettis.
But he never gets run. And I mean, I understand people are like, like worried about the number 3. Like, you do not do what he did against Green Bay as a bad player.
No.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't rack up that type of yardage if you can't play receiver.
It's not like there was anyone else on the Niners drawing coverage or attention. Who else was healthy that day?
Or he had a great quarterback throwing him the ball. So
that wasn't the case.
Kyle is just a genius. His offensive scheme just has this guy. No, look
not for Pettis.
His whole career.
Yeah,
that's right. You.
Yes.
He can play, but nobody wants to give him a chance.
So let me ask you, with this topic, Moseley and Greenlaw, what can they not? Who does this apply to this year? Richie James, Ross Dwelly?
I would probably say a D lineman possibly.
Kevin Givens?
Yeah, because I see kind of, that leads me to something I didn't leave you on the topic of. It's like Kinlaw. Like, I remember the guy from Alabama that went to the Redskins, the D tackle.
Yeah.
Like, he seemed like a beast. I don't remember Kinlaw being this beast in the SEC that people say he was. What did he have? Like 3.5, 4.5 sacks?
Yeah.
But people are like, Kinlaw, he was a monster in the SEC. It's just a matter of time. Like, I didn't see that on the tape. I saw that with Buckner coming out of Oregon.
Yeah.
Like I said, with the Alabama D tackle, but I didn't see that with Kinlaw. And it's like everybody says, like, I find it suspect because all you tell me is how big he is.
That's right.
That's
and when Brian Baldinger puts out clips, like they're all run defense clips. I think he has potential to be a good run defender because he's so big and he moves pretty well for his size, but there's no finesse to his game. There's no like, here's a move and here's a counter. It's just bull rush.
And you're not drafting a D tackle at 3 to be a run stopper.
No, you are not. But
you can pick up a journeyman D tackle off the scrap.
But that's what Armstead is too, honestly, and they've done it twice now in the last. It's Armstead. Yep. So
exactly the one that can do both is who? The guy they shipped out of town.
So I'll be watching this in training camp to see which guys are being unfairly pushed down the depth chart because Kyle Shanahan didn't predict that they would be good.